Have you ever felt like you are working twice as hard as everyone else just to keep your head above water, but you are still drowning in the drama of other people? Maybe you're waiting for a text back that never comes, or you are trying to convince your partner to finally get healthy, or you are obsessing over what your boss really meant by that passive-aggressive email. You are exhausted because you have been trying to manage things you simply cannot control. In this deep dive into Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, you are going to learn the one tool that will stop you from wasting your life on things you cannot change. We are going to explore why we have a hardwired need to control others and how that habit is actually sabotaging your happiness. You will learn the science of the stress response, the 3 pillars that determine your friendships, and a strategic framework called the ABC loop to influence change in those you love. By the end of this video, you will have a clear roadmap to reclaim your energy and step into what Mel Robbins calls your Let Me era. Before we get into the strategy, we have to understand where this comes from. Most of us know Mel Robbins for the 5-second rule, which is about the internal battle you have with yourself. It is about getting out of bed when you do not feel like it or pushing through procrastination. But as Robbins shares in Let Them Theory, even after mastering ourselves, we still face external battles, traffic jams, micromanaging bosses, and family guilt trips. The 5-second rule changed her relationship with herself, but the Let Them Theory changed her relationship with other people. It is a shift from self-improvement to relationship improvement. It is about stopping the exhausting cycle of trying to manage everyone and everything around you. Mel Robbins discovered this theory in a place you would least expect, a high school prom. It was her son, Oakley's prom, and as a mother who had already navigated 4 proms with her daughters, she thought this would be easy. But Oakley was different. He communicated 0 details, had no dinner reservations, and did not even want the beautiful corsage Mel had specially ordered. Mel felt herself spiraling into fixer mode. She wanted to control the dinner plans, the photos, and even how his date would dress. In the middle of this stress, her daughter Kendall grabbed her arm and said, "Mom, if Oakley and his friends want to go to a taco bar for pre-prom, let them. Let them get soaked in the rain. Let his new sneakers get ruined. It is their prom, not yours." The effect was immediate. Something inside Mel softened, and the stress of trying to control the situation evaporated. She realized that by letting Oakley face the consequences of his own choices, she was not just freeing him, she was freeing herself. She handed him $40 for tacos, gave him a hug, and watched him run out into the rain. This is the core of the Let Them Theory. When you stop obsessing over what other people think, say, or do, you finally have the energy to focus on your own life. You stop reacting and start living. Within a week of using this, Robbins realized that almost everything stressing her out was related to other people's behavior. To understand why this works, Robbins uses the analogy of a seesaw. When someone does something that excludes you or bothers you, you often react negatively. You might feel inferior, jealous, or insecure. By internalizing their actions as evidence that you are less than, you are effectively weighing down your side of the seesaw and giving them all the power. Now, when you first say let them, you might feel a jolt of superiority. You rise up on the seesaw, and it feels good to be above it all. But Robbins warns that if you stop there, you become isolated. You are just sitting up there looking down on people, which leads to withdrawal and judgment. That is why the theory has a second crucial half. The Let Them Theory only works if you say both parts. Let Them is about releasing control you never had in the first place. Let Me is about taking responsibility for what you do next. It is a power move that shifts the focus from their behavior to your response. In the prom story, let them meant letting the kids eat at a tiny taco stand. Let me meant Mel deciding to enjoy her own evening instead of worrying about theirs. This second step is where your true power lies because you are the only person you can actually control. Robbins interviewed Dr. Aditi Narurkar from Harvard Medical School to explain why we get so worked up over small things. It turns out that when we feel stressed by a slow cashier or a rude driver, our brain's amygdala takes over. This is our reptilian brain responsible for the fight or flight response. When the amygdala is in charge, your prefrontal cortex, The part responsible for logical decision-making and planning is offline. You cannot think strategically when you are in survival mode. By saying let them, you are signaling to your brain that this is not a threat. You are effectively resetting your stress response and handing the wheel back to your prefrontal cortex. Modern life is often death by 1,000 cuts. It is the slow walkers, the loud phone talkers, and the long lines. Robbins suggests the airport stress test. In an airport, everything is designed to trigger your amygdala. Delays, crowds, and missing baggage. Robbins tells a story about a man coughing openly behind her on a plane. She felt her stress rising, worried she would get sick before a big speech. She tried the evil eye, but it did not work. Then she remembered, let them. She let him cough, and then she said, let me. She put on her headphones, wrapped a scarf around her face, and got back to work. She took responsibility for her own health rather than expecting a stranger to manage it for her. Before we move into the deeper relationship frameworks, I want to take a quick second to invite you to join our community. If you are watching this, it is because you want to take back control of your resources, your time, and your future. Mastering the let them theory is the emotional foundation for professional growth. If you want to master financial literacy and business acumen to match your new mindset, please hit the like button and subscribe. We drop deep dives like this every week to help you build the life you deserve. Robbins argues that most of us use other people's opinions as our roadmap. We take a left or right turn based on what we think others will say. She admits it took her 2 years to start posting about her speaking business on social media because she was afraid of what her old high school friends would think. The truth is, people are going to have negative opinions about you regardless of what you do. Robbins notes that adults are allowed to think whatever they want, and you cannot control their random thoughts. The goal is to make decisions that make you proud. When you are proud of yourself, the weight of their judgment disappears. This is one of the most transformative parts of the book. Robbins' therapist, Dr. Ann Davin, told her, most adults are just 8-year-old children inside of big bodies. When someone gives you the silent treatment or throws a rage text tantrum, they are showing emotional immaturity because they never learned to regulate their feelings. Instead of getting angry, try to visualize the 4th grade version of that person in the room. It shifts your emotion from contempt to compassion. You realize it is not your job to manage their tantrum. You can say, let them sulk, and then let me remove myself from this conversation. When dealing with family, Robbins introduces the frame of reference. This means understanding the lens through which someone else sees the world based on their lived experience. Robbins shares that her mom was not excited when she got engaged to Chris because Chris lived on the East Coast. Years later, Robbins realized her mom's frame of reference was the grief of losing her own parents when she moved away young. She was not being unsupportive. She was grieving the future loss of her daughter. Understanding someone's frame of reference does not mean you have to agree with them, but it creates space for 2 truths to exist at once. Adult friendship is hard because of what Robbins calls the great scattering. As we age, we scatter due to marriages, kids, career moves, and divorces. Many of us feel lonely because we expect friendship to just happen like it did when we were kids. Robbins identifies the 3 pillars of friendship: proximity, timing, and energy. If any of these are missing, the friendship will fade, and it is usually not personal. If a friend stops texting back, let them. But let me means you take responsibility for your social life. You go first. You invite people out. You join the gym or the book club. One of the most common questions Robbins gets is, how do I make someone I love change? Maybe it is a spouse who won't exercise or a friend who keeps making bad choices. The reality is that pressure only creates resistance. People only change when they feel like it, and when they feel they are in control of the decision. To influence change without pressuring, you can use the ABC loop. A. Apologize for the pressure you have been putting on them, and then ask open-ended questions about what they want. B. Back off and observe their behavior without judgment. C. Celebrate any small progress while you continue to model the change yourself. When someone you love is really struggling, the instinct is to rescue them. But Robbins warns that the more you rescue, the more they sink. Rescuing creates dependency. Supporting creates empowerment. Enabling is when you justify their problematic behavior or fix their mistakes to avoid conflict. True support is saying, I believe in your ability to handle this, and I am here for you, but I cannot do the work for you. It is letting them face the natural consequences of their actions so they have a reason to change. In the world of dating, Robbins is very black and white. Mixed signals are not mixed at all. They are a clear message that you are not a priority. If someone is texting you but never makes a plan to see you, let them text. But let me admit that this is going nowhere and move on. She also discusses the commitment conversation. Never hint at what you deserve. If you want a commitment, ask for it. Robbins quotes Matthew Hussey saying that a real conversation only destroys something that is already fake. If they cannot give you what you need, let them go so you can find someone who will. Robbins concludes the book with a beautiful analogy about the sky. The people and situations in your life are like the weather. Clouds will gather, storms will come, and the sun will shine. You cannot control the weather, but you can control how you navigate beneath it. You can carry an umbrella, you can dance in the rain, or you can seek the sun. Why would you ever entrust your happiness to the whims and moods of the people around you? When you use let them, you recognize that the storms are part of the landscape, but they do not have to be your identity. This book is a wake-up call. You have spent enough time waiting for permission, waiting for an invitation, or waiting for someone else to change so you can finally be happy. That time is over. Your let me era is here. Let me take a risk. Let me be honest about what I want. Let me create a life that makes me proud. You are the source of your own fulfillment, and the second you take your power back, it is only a matter of time before your reality catches up to your vision. Thank you for sticking through this deep dive. As we mentioned earlier, achieving this level of mental clarity is the first step to true independence. If you found this summary valuable and want to continue mastering your financial literacy and business acumen, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. You can find the link to purchase Mel Robbins' book, The Let Them Theory, in the description below. Go out there, let them be them, and let you be the best version of yourself.